I just got back from a funeral. This was my third funeral for the year. I attended one in January, I attended one last Thursday, and then this morning. First off, I'm sending prayers of comfort to anyone out there who is experiencing loss, grieving the loss of loved ones and people they care about, people holding space for their loved ones who are grieving their loved ones. And I'm sending you, beaming you good energy because that's all I can do right now. There's so much death, there is so much pain and suffering in the world. And it seems like everywhere we go, there is pain and suffering. There is not one place I can think of right now that is not experiencing pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is a part of our existence. As human beings, we exist with pain. I don't know why. I'm not a philosopher. I know that that's been my observation. And as an observer of my life experience, I can't say anything other than that. And so my heart goes out to everyone who is experiencing grief. And I know that's probably most of the population experiencing some type of grief. And that's the funny thing, right? That grief is a common thread for all of us. Yet so many of us cannot find it within ourselves to be empathetic and to be considerate of other people's grief, of other people's pain. Yeah, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with that. But last year prepared me for death stacking up, for losses stacking up. I think I might have shared this in one of my previous videos. I attended 10 funerals last year. And one particular funeral, one of my best friends, she died. It was gut-wrenching. And all of it was an invitation for me to embrace my own mortality. And in doing so, I'm not saying it's ever going to be easy when loved ones are lost or gone and are no more in this space-time continuum. But what I'm saying is that I am ready whenever it happens. It happens. I'm readying myself for it on this physical plane, meaning I'm prepping my life, my documents, the things that I need. I'm making sure that my business is in order in the event that it happens unexpectedly. Then the people I leave behind won't be thrown into chaos. So that's some of the invitations that's been extended to me as a result of being in such close proximity to death, especially last year. And this year, 3 already. We're in month 3 and I've been to 3 funerals. So I know it's tough. I know it's hard because we all experience it. And so I'm sending love and prayers of comfort for all who are grieving the loss of loved ones, no matter how they were taken from us, no matter how they left us. And again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of all the crazy, evil, wicked stuff that's happening in this world, all the suffering, the needless suffering, and the needless deaths that are occurring because of intentional evil, wickedness. We're all suffering. Some greater, some much greater than others. And so, hearts out to you, wherever you are. But what's the purpose of my video today? I did say that I will post videos whenever I can. And one of the things for me, and I say this over and over, and I think I need to keep saying it over and over, especially for people who've never listened to my videos before, watched my videos before, I believe in the wholeness and the expansiveness of well-being. I believe women should have the resources that they need to tend to their well-being. I believe that Black women should have the resources that they need to tend to their well-being. The thing is, though, what I have found is that a lot of women don't even know where to begin. And in fact, I hear it a lot. I don't even know what I need right now. Where do I begin? Oh, I need so many things right now. Or how do I begin to adjust my life so that things begin to feel like it's making sense? Or I begin to feel like I'm moving in the direction that I want to, that I'm moving in the direction that I envision for myself. Like, where do I begin? And I understand that. I understand that feeling of confusion and lack of clarity about where you are. You may have a vision, but you don't know quite how to get started with it. Back in 2014, I was 2 years into quitting my job for a self-care sabbatical and post becoming a health and wellness coach. And one of the tools that I created that works for me to this day, and I know I will use that tool forever until I leave this world, is called the 6 pillars of self-care. This was a framework that I created and that I taught, and it's still woven into everything that I do to this day. We all know, maybe, I hope, the story of the wise man built his house upon a rock, and the foolish man built his house on sand. The rain came tumbling down, the foolish man's house washed away, the wise man's house stood firm. This framework has given me the things that I need to build the sturdy foundation, the rock that I need to be sturdy, that anchors me in the actual tangible things that I need to do for my life, so that when times of chaos comes, when that water comes, when that wind blows, I will rock, I will bend, I will sway, but I will not break. That's the hope. And so far, this has done wonders for me. And I'm going to share with you what it is. And then I'm going to drop a free tool for you in the description so that you can explore it yourself, just so you know where your strengths are. So these are 6 pillars, or you may call them domains, that I created around different aspects of life. And what it allows you to do is get a full picture of where your strengths are and the areas where you need more intention, more attention, more care, and more love and energy. And so this really helps you to see where you are actually doing well and where you're not doing so well, so that you can start addressing those areas and optimizing those areas where you're not doing so well. The 6 domains that I studied were, and in no particular order: purpose, sustenance, recreation, restorative practice, relationships, and finances. And I studied myself. I first used myself as a guinea pig. And then in the cohorts that I had, I was able to utilize this 6 pillars of self-care to share with other women so that they can then look at their lives as a whole, as a big pie, and determine where their strengths were and where their weaknesses were in those 6 domains, those 6 pillars. And it worked beautifully. For example, when I looked at the domains back in 2014, which is when I created it, I was not living in my purpose. And so everything got a score of 1 through 10. And I looked at purpose. I was not living in my purpose, which is why I left my job to begin with, because I didn't feel that I was doing the work that I was put here to do. And so I left the job I was doing in pursuit of a self-care sabbatical so that I could figure out what it is I wanted to do. And in figuring it out, during that process, during that self-care sabbatical, I landed on the 6 pillars of self-care. So one thing led to the next. So I wasn't living in my purpose. I was trying to figure out what my purpose was. I did several different things, from working as an editor in a small magazine to coaching to strategic and consulting work, professional development, writing curriculum, started a business. A lot of different areas I tried out. I did land on something, and I'm living in my purpose now. So the score back then on a scale of 1 to 10 was about a 3. Can't remember exactly. I'm just giving you an arbitrary number, but I know it was low. Then I looked at sustenance. That is what I was putting into my body. I wasn't doing too bad. I was around a 5 at that time. Then I looked at relationships. They were okay, shaky, a lot of things working out. Wasn't all the way up there either. I would say probably a 5. Then there was recreation. I know how to recreate. So I've always been high on the recreation scale. So I'd say I was probably at 8.5, 9, somewhere around there. Then there was, what did I forget? Restorative practice. After I left the job for the self-care sabbatical, I started optimizing my restorative practice, which my go-to is Qigong, but I also tried meditation and I tried yoga. I tried a little bit of Pilates. I tried a bit of everything, but came back around to Qigong and a little bit of Tai Chi, but primarily Qigong. It worked for me. I loved it. And I was like, this is it. I became very diligent with my practice and also became a certified Qigong instructor. And so restorative practice was in 2014, around a 6 and climbing. And then there was finances. Well, finances around 2014 it was decent. It was around a 5 or so. And so I was able to look at all of these areas and be like, oh my God, this needs more work. My purpose needs more work. So I need to put more intention there. I need to maintain the others that were around 8 and 9, but I needed to bring up the ones that were low on the scale. So that's 2014. Fast forward to 2000 and now, 2026. I just did the assessment a few days ago, and I can, with all confidence, look at purpose, and it's a 10. I'm living in my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing the thing that I was called to do. I believe in sharing resources with women and creating spaces where women can have resources to tend to their well-being so that they can live a life of longevity and vitality. And if given longevity, they can have vital lives, right? And they can age well. So I'm living in that purpose. So that's a easy 10 for me. Sustenance, I'm always learning. And I think I'm relearning my body because of menopause. And what worked for my body nutritionally back, I would say 5 years ago, is not working anymore. So I'm still in this space of learning what I need to really put into my body so that I can have healthy bones, so that I can have mental clarity, so that I can have a healthy heart, so that I can have healthy blood glucose levels, healthy skin, etc. I'm still learning a lot of those because things have changed. So I'd say I'm an 8 there, and I'm being very intentional about learning that. And it takes time because it's trial and error. And then a relationship, I have to continue to pour into that. That's a 7. because relationships are complicated and it's tough. I have my personal relationship with my significant other, I have the relationship with my children, my extended family, professional relationships, right? And I have to navigate all of these and in very different ways. So that's a 7, constant work, still working on it, but I give myself patience and grace. And then I have finances. My finances is down to a 3. That doesn't mean I'm broke. It's not where I want it to be in terms of a 10. It's not. And so, guess where most of my intention, my attention, and energy is flowing? And you know what they say, energy flows where the mind goes. And so, I got my mind and my money and my money and my mind. So, it's getting attention. So, the goal is, the intention is to move it from a 3 to a 10. Love to move it for a 10, but even if I move it from a 3 to a 4, I'm happy. 4 to 5, happy. 5 to 6, right? And by looking at that picture, those pillars, I'm able to say, yeah, this is where this is. And that requires you to be honest. I have to be really honest with myself about where I am financially. And where I am financially is simply because of decisions I made with my businesses. I had 2 businesses I had to close. I invested a lot of money in those businesses, my own personal money, and then closed the businesses. So my finances, my personal finances took a hit. But guess what? It's on the up and up now because when we are in awareness, and I come back to that AAA again, awareness, acknowledgement, action. When we are in awareness, right? I am aware that that is something that needs attention. I've acknowledged that that is indeed my truth, that I need to work on my finances. That's true for me. So I've acknowledged that. Now, the next step is action. I am taking aligned action so that I can move it from where it is now to where I want it to be. And so looking at this 6 pillars of self-care, these 6 domains, requires honesty on your part. Like you're not going to look at sustenance and go, oh, I'm a 10 or I'm a 9 and you're a 2. It's counterproductive to you. You're going to get nowhere. But if you are honest and say, I am at a 1, my sustenance needs a total overhaul. I need to start from ground zero and work my way up. If you acknowledge that that is indeed the truth for you, then it becomes easier to take action. Because then you start looking for ways and resources to help move the needle from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, right? Step by step, bit by bit, you can get there. And so that's what I'm doing with myself. And I know the area for me, the domain for me that needs the most work, most attention, most intention, most energy, most love is finances. I did this when I closed my business. I came to that awareness, made that acknowledgement, and started taking action. I now, of course, have another business with a co founder, and we are doing what business people do. But I also have this personal work that I do, this well being strategic work that I do for companies, and I do curriculum development, and I also do wellness and well being work with companies. It brings me joy. I'm living in my purpose. It's bringing in money and I'm moving the needle on that. So 2014, the assessment was very generic, very basic. And it worked because it's worked for me since 2014. It worked for tons of the people that I coached and taught. It also works right now, but I was able to update the assessment. And instead of the basic generic assessment, I created a wheel, a well-being assessment wheel, and it's really cool. And I'll drop the link for you so you can just go onto the website, my website, and there is this little button you touch and you can just drag it up, move it back and forth from a 1 to a 10, wherever you think you are. And I made it interactive so you can actually figure out where you are on the wheel itself, or there is a slider you can use. It's very self-explanatory on the website. And I know some people love PDFs, so I made it easy for you to have the assessment in two forms. PDF, yay! Zoom. So I have the PDF you can download, and it gives you a little bit more details in terms of where you are and what you need to do. I suggest you do both. Download the PDF and fill out the assessment on the PDF, and then take the assessment on the website itself. It works really well. When you look at that, you will say to yourself, okay, I know, I am aware, I acknowledge, now I'm ready to take action. That's what it's about. So you're going to use the 6 pillars assessment wheel along with the framework. This is the next framework that I have: awareness, acknowledgement, and action. As you're going through this wheel, engage this framework of awareness, acknowledgement, and action. When you see what you see, when you are in awareness of what you see, the honest number that you give yourself in each of those areas, acknowledge it, own it. That's where you are. It's okay. None of us are perfect. Then you're ready to take action. And that's where the magic happens. That is where the magic happens, in the action. So for me, coming right back around to where I started with coming in from a funeral and the fact that so many people are suffering and we're grieving loved ones on a personal level and on a global level, because for many, especially for me, I'm an empath and I'm a highly sensitive person as well. I see the suffering that's happening around the world and it affects me. And so I have to constantly engage myself in grounding exercises and my Qigong. And I have to call in all the scattered parts of me back home into my body so that I can root and I can ground and not be everywhere all at once. And so this 6 pillars of self-care, especially last year, I was able to put it to use to help me navigate loss and grief and arrive at the action, which was, let me first show you how I became in awareness and the part of the wheel or the 6 pillars that was really affected: relationship. And I would even say restorative practice as well. Those two were the ones that I had to look at. Like, what is it about death that is so terrifying? For me, with all of these funerals that I went to, those are the things that was popping up. And I don't want to stay too long on this subject, just giving you some context. What was it? And for me, it was loss was so scary, losing people close to me, like it is for anyone. But a lot of times we don't acknowledge it, we don't talk about it. And I was afraid. So I came into awareness of the fact that I was afraid of death because of all that comes with it. So it was all of the death that I experienced personally, and then all of the death around the world that had me in this place of fear, deep pain and fear. And so once I came into awareness of that, and then I acknowledged that that is indeed what is happening to me, that I am fearful, own that fear, girl, own it. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. It's completely normal. I was able to take action. And so, of course, through therapy, I was able to come to terms with the fact that I too will go and others will go, and the loss of loved ones will happen. And the older I get, the losses are going to stack up. Loss of loved ones, loss of people I don't know who I simply just care about, loss of people in the world that I'm going to feel pain for. It is going to happen. So I have to find a way to come to terms with not just their mortality and the mortality of my loved ones and people that I just feel pain for, but also I need to come to terms with my own mortality and not be scared of that inevitability. That's kind of what I worked through. And I was only able to do that because I was able to look at the wheel and recognize the places on the wheel that was being affected, my relationships and my restorative practice. So my relationship with people in general is one of empathy. I'm very empathetic. And again, I'm a highly sensitive person. And then restorative practices because I needed to do something to restore trust and release fear. And that is all through some type of restorative practice, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation, whether it's Qigong, whether it's Tai Chi, Reiki, whatever it is. Restorative practices can really return you to a place of trust as opposed to a place of fear. I'm in a much better place now. I know it's never going to be easy. These 3 deaths that I experienced already for the year has not been easy. It's not been easy for my loved ones who have been in such pain because of them. And it's not been easy for me because these are people that I know. But it has made the process much more bearable. We're never going to have a perfect life, but we at least deserve to have the tools needed to navigate this life as best as we can. And I'm going to leave it there for today. Yeah, that's it. So definitely go check out the Wellbeing Assessment Wheel. The link is down below and get some idea of where your strengths are and what domains or pillars need more of your attention, intention, love, and care. My name is Dixie Lincoln Nichols. I believe in the wholeness and the expansiveness of well-being. I post videos whenever I can. In the meantime, be safe and well, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.